While there are a lot of people that love living in Indianapolis and the surrounding areas, there are also a lot of people that hate it. So I asked my husband and videographer, Adam, who's behind the camera, to go on niche.com and to pick out some of the best and worst reviews of Indianapolis so I can read them for you and find out just how accurate they are. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Cameron Geesaman, a local Indianapolis area resident and real estate agent. I absolutely love creating videos like this for people like you that are thinking about moving into, from, or around the Indy metro area. If you're considering making a move to the Indianapolis area, then this video is definitely for you. Adam's going to hand me a review and I will read them out loud and then give you my thoughts. This will be the first time I'm reading these, so I have no idea what these reviews are about. So this should be fun. Let's get into it. We're gonna start with the first one. It's a 1, so we're starting with the 1s. Okay. I visited Indianapolis once and I'll never go back. This is the most sketchy city I have ever been to. Sketchy. Downtown appears fairly safe and nice for the most part. However, most of the rest of the city has boarded up windows on the abandoned businesses and homes and rundown streets, which are sure to destroy a tire. Absolutely a diverse city, but certainly not in a good way. Okay. Boarded up windows. Yes. Okay. It's a downtown area. It's Indianapolis. There are lots of areas that have gotten run down. And so there are going to be boarded up, businesses and or homes. They're actually working to really kind of regentrify the areas. And so that's one of those things where you are going to find that. Run down streets. There's a lot of streets in Indianapolis. And yes, you can destroy a tire on some of those potholes. It's a diverse city, but it's interesting they say it's a diverse city, but certainly not in a good way. I mean, you could read that in so many different ways. I kind of disagree. Okay, next. Oh, another 1. I don't know if I'm going to like the 1s. If there is a bright center to the universe, Indianapolis is the city that it's farthest from. The roads are deteriorated and look like they have been bombed out multiple times. Want to go out and get a cheeseburger at 3 a.m.? Don't waste your time. Every last restaurant is closed. Planning on walking to anywhere? Yeah, you're going to have to let that one go too. The transit system is a joke. Don't count on it to get you anywhere. You're going to have to get yourself a car or you won't be anywhere. Wow, I can't read. Or you won't be going anywhere. Right center of the universe. That's a fun one. Okay, so cheeseburger at 3 a.m. Here's the thing. I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not out at 3 a.m. for the most part. I'm in bed. But I don't know that many places that are actually open till 3 anyways. And if you go, okay, so I will say if you go to like Broad Ripple, which is in downtown-ish Indianapolis, their restaurants are open because that's where the college kids go. They party and then they go to the restaurants to get like a burrito or a cheeseburger. The high-end areas, like let's say Mass Ave, that's another area where there are like sports clubs and bars. I've got to assume there's maybe a restaurant or two that stays open, but you're just going to get the drinking crowd at 3 a.m. So if I owned a restaurant, I don't know if I'd stay open till 3 either. The transit system is a joke. Our transit system is not great. But is it a transit system? Yes. So could you live downtown and not have a car? Yes. Yeah, there you go. Next one, please. It's like a paragraph. I'm supposed to read all of this? Okay, it's a 2. Mostly the overwhelming crime rate and the state of disrepair of many cityscapes. The current mayor vowed to do more to correct these issues. Currently in his 2nd term, there have been no changes, let alone any that have made any sort of change to either issues facing the city as a whole. Many people live in surrounding suburbs, or as some refer to them as the donut counties, because it is much safer and the taxes are much better. I'm going to address the taxes because that's actually not true. With the easy access to the city via the interstate, this is a viable option for most. The tax rate is also entirely too high for what little the city provides. Disagree. It also continues to rise, and the amount of services rendered do not meet expectations whatsoever. It is disconcerting to pay so much in taxes while still being in constant fear for the safety of oneself, family, and property. The city did attempt to make some infrastructure improvements, but it seems as though they did not work or did not fix the problem it was intended to fix. The city can be much what? Like much better? Much worse? We will never know because they never gave the whole information. Okay, anyways. Donut counting is on this channel. If you watch a lot of our videos, we talk about the donut counties, specifically Hamilton County, quite a bit. That's where a lot of people end up going because it's an amazing county. Anyways, there is fairly easy access if you live in one of the donut counties to get to Indianapolis. So that's great. Tax rate. I'm going to kind of explain taxes because a lot of people, we get this even when we have clients that come to see us and want to buy a house, they don't understand how taxes are done in Indiana and or Indianapolis. So there's a law where in Indiana, if you claim your homestead exemption, so that is if you claim it as your primary residence. So if you have a residence here and a residence in Florida, if you claim this home in Indiana as your primary residence, then it's 1% of your assessed value. Now, assessed values is a whole nother conversation we're not going to get in today, but ultimately it's 1%. Now, there are referendums that go into place, like in Hamilton County. A lot of the schools have a referendum in place where they are charging a little bit extra on the taxes. So call it like a 0.01% or 0.02%. So it's a little bit more. When you're talking about taxes, when you are going out to eat, yes, there is an extra cost. So here in Indiana, sales tax is 7%. If you're dining out downtown, there is an extra percentage that you're going to be charged because they have that to be able to pay for the building of a lot of the facilities downtown. So it pays for things like the Colts Lucas Oil Stadium, or there's now the soccer field so that extra amount is going to pay for those things. To say that there's not a whole lot that's going on downtown, our convention center is amazing. There are events and or things that are going on. People around the world are coming to it. And Indianapolis, in my opinion, is doing a lot to kind of revamp that whole area to make it so that when people come in for a conference, there's things to do. So I disagree, number 2. And I think the city could be much worse because we're pretty awesome. Anyways, okay, 3. Overall, my experience here I can't even talk. Overall, my experience here in Indianapolis may be a little bland. I only say that because I've lived here my entire life and there's still a lot I haven't seen. I'm only 22 and can still explore, but from what I have seen, this city is a mixture of good and bad, okay? The weather is indecisive, true, and whoa, the traffic is horrible. Currently right now it is, with all of the construction. But I love my hometown. They show up for each other. The support that is felt in the city is an amazing feeling. It makes you feel like you can do anything, and that is better than any other feeling. I mean, it's a 3. What I like is she did give some things that she doesn't like. I'm assuming it's a she. It just says current resident. So I'm gonna give he's and she's to these apparently. The weather is indecisive. We have 4 seasons. I don't know what to tell you. Like today, we're literally in hell right now because it is 85 degrees currently and it's gonna get up to 96. I hate 96, it's awful. So the weather is indecisive. You can have literally almost all 4 seasons in one day. Traffic is horrible. I will agree with them right now. Construction around 465 is really bad. Apparently the city decided to do construction almost on all sides of 465. And there's some pretty big changes around, like of exits and on ramps and all that. So it is pretty bad. But I do agree with her. The city is still pretty awesome. Okay, next one. I like this. This is fun. Okay, another 3. Indianapolis. Wow. What did I just call it? Indianapolis is a safe city with a low cost of living. True, which is really nice. It is pretty easy to find work, but the rate of pay you receive is often lower than expected. Okay. Also, it is a very conservative environment, which has its pluses, but can also be somewhat frustrating when your political beliefs are more liberal in nature. I was raised in this city and have lived here most of my life, so I feel my evaluation is pretty credible and unbiased. I mean, I don't disagree with this. The cost of living, if you are not from Indiana and you're doing research, you're gonna hear a lot that the cost of living in Indianapolis is pretty good. It is, right? The average price point in Indianapolis currently is in the 200s, which is higher than it used to be because it used to be in the hundreds. But cost of living is still pretty good because here's the honest truth. Everywhere has gone up. So to say that there's an area that hasn't increased in values would be wrong. Plus it has its pluses. And yeah, if you are more on the liberal side, then it probably could be frustrating. I would say in Indianapolis, there's probably more. When you get to some of the donut counties, it is a little bit more conservative, but it just depends. I mean, I have friends on both sides, so you just kind of have to find your people and go from there. All right, next. Another one. I don't know if I like the ones. Moved to Indianapolis, Indiana to further my education after high school. Wanted to pursue a bachelor's degree in finance. Being born and raised in Chicago, Indianapolis is nothing compared to the big, beautiful city of Chicago I call home. I do not like Indianapolis in the slightest bit, but I'm determined to graduate college from IUPUI. I kind of feel bad for her. Here's the thing, you can't compare us to Chicago because at the end of the day, Chicago is a massive city. There is a lot more buildings and activities and things. Chicago is definitely well known. I have said for the last couple of years, I actually think Indianapolis is the Chicago before Chicago was Chicago. Does that even make sense? Because Chicago's expensive. So you can't really compare us to Chicago because it's way more expensive. The traffic, at least for my research, is worse. It's the windy city. So you have a bunch of wind. I feel bad that they're trying to compare Chicago to Indianapolis. It's not, but I wouldn't say that that makes Indianapolis a bad place. It just depends on what you want. You can go to Chicago, you can go to these other expensive places, you're just going to pay more in all things practically. But thanks for getting your degree here in Indiana. Okay, next. A 3. The city is very old. It is old. There isn't much to do here either. There are hardly any parks or places to go out and experience nature. Most of the open land here is either company owned or is farmland. Okay. Agree and disagree. I'm in the middle. That's why there are 3. Okay. There are parks. There's Washington Park, which is great downtown. There is Eagle Creek, which Eagle Creek is amazing. University Park. So there's clearly plenty of parks. Indiana, we're cornfields. Okay. And if you're in downtown Indianapolis, there aren't going to be a whole lot of areas because it's a metro area. Like it's, I know New York is a metro area too, and they have that big, huge park. That's great. There are still parks, maybe not as renowned, but there's plenty of parks to get out to experience nature and or land. But we're cornfields, you guys. We don't have mountains. If you want mountains, go somewhere else. Okay, 3. Not the best place to live in. Really disagree with anybody that says it's not a good place. It might not be a good place for you. That doesn't mean it's not a good place. Okay. Public education could be better. Okay. actually Indianapolis public education, if it's ranked compared to a lot of other areas, actually can be better than some areas. So in comparison to what? Is there better public education? Sure, right? There is. Nightlife is okay. There are not many options in terms of diversity. The real estate market is pretty, since compared to other states, houses are cheaper. Not really sure I understand that. Healthy living is not prioritized. There are more choices. There are more chances of eating fast food over eating produce or freshly cooked meals. It doesn't feel safe enough to be alone at any point. It is family friendly in terms of having proper housing and perhaps having a school nearby. Affordability is average. The sales tax is 7%. There's not much diversity or job opportunities. They gave it a 3, but I feel like all they said were negative things. Nightlife, I agree. Nightlife is okay. Is there a nightlife? Yeah, there is. I mean, there's stuff downtown. Broad Ripple, Mass Ave, are two of pretty much the prominent areas downtown. Healthy living is not prioritized. I agree with that. I will say that if you go to like the Indiana State Fair, it's all fried foods. Like, it's hard. We eat pretty healthy, and I'm gluten-free, so I can't do a lot of the fried foods. But it's not prioritized. We, for the most part, are an overweight state. So I actually agree with that. Affordability is average. Now, I will agree with that, because affordability, in my opinion, is subjective, right? Because compared to what? Can you find houses in Indiana that are still in the hundreds? Yes. Are there still houses in downtown Indianapolis that are in the 100,000s? Yes. But at the end of the day, it has increased. The unfortunate part across the country, and I think this is a thing that we're all battling, it doesn't matter where you live, home prices have increased, and yet job incomes have not increased, and yet everything costs just way more. So I feel like that's everywhere. I don't think that's specific to Indianapolis. So, okay, next. I have a hair on my nose or something. Okay, next one, a 3. I love that everything is convenient, so I don't have to travel far. I agree with that. I love how the city is trying to keep the older buildings up and fixing them up. I agree. So for the person who is complaining about the boarded up houses and buildings, yes, they are out there. I get it. But there's actually a lot of investors and or people that are buying those boarded up buildings that are beautiful buildings that just need to be brought back to life. And so they really are trying to do that. And that's one of my favorite parts. The city is trying to keep the older buildings up and fixing them up instead of just knocking them down. I would like to see the businesses around Indy to start to clean up the trash around their buildings. I think that it would look a lot better. I agree. I don't know if I've noticed a ton of trash, but I also don't live in downtown Indianapolis. And so when I go down there, I don't notice that a lot, but that's okay. Okay, next one. Ooh, our first 5. Okay. Living in Indianapolis is a joy because it blends big city amenities with a welcoming small town feel. Yes. The city boasts a vibrant culture scene, including world-class museums, like the Children's Museum is world-class. It's amazing. If you're even just visiting here, I recommend you go there. Theaters and a rich sports culture, with the Indianapolis 500 being a standout event. I agree. The Indianapolis 500, I have lived here for over 35 years, and it's interesting because I would always go to time trials, but I never went to the race. And so years later, when I finally made it to a race, I experienced the awe and the chills when the jets fly over, and hearing the back home again in India. That was really great. You can just void that out. Okay. There's just something about it. It's just a really cool event, even if you're not from here. Okay. I digress. The diverse food scene and friendly neighborhoods make it easy to find your community. I agree. The cost of living is reasonable, and there are plenty of parks and recreational areas for outdoor enthusiasts. I like this person. Indianapolis also offers a growing job market and a commitment to urban development, making it a dynamic place to call home. That was really eloquently written. And I agree with all of it. Am I going to say that it's the best place? For some people, it might be. For other people, it might not. You just have to decide what you want, but I think all of this is correct. Correct. Okay. A 4. I think this is our first 4 too. It's a nice city, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done, like the potholes and the road in general. The abandoned buildings and homes that need to be renovated, but it does have its hidden gems. Right, it has some hidden gems. Does it have some problems? Yeah, potholes. You'll at least probably, living here, you'll probably at least have one where you hit a pothole and you pop your tire or bend your rim. That's like the worst. And there are buildings. We've already talked about that. So, yep, I agree. Okay, next. I said he's handing them to me. Okay, this is a 3. I feel like Indianapolis is an all right place to live. It's very moderate there. It's very moderate. I need commas. This is where I was never, like, I'm not great at writing. I'm better verbally. And so it's like, I need a comma so that I know where to pause. It's very moderate. There isn't too many great things, but there isn't a lot to complain about either. The crime rate has begun to rise, which makes getting out and wanting to do anything social more anxiety-inducing than anything. Oh, this was from 23. There's a lot of things to do throughout the state outdoor, and the state parks are wonderful. The housing market is very average. It's not super expensive, but it's also not cheap living either. I agree. There are areas that you probably could go, but you're not going to have all of what our city does have to offer when you're looking at the price of living, right? Like, you can have where it could be cheaper, but then you're not going to have the amenities and things to do. If you have it more expensive, yes, it's just at what point do you weigh those, right? Like, what's most important? And the housing market is average. I actually think we're still kicking it with markets. There's a lot of markets that I talk to agents across the country that have dropped significantly. And homes are sitting for like 100 days, where our average days on market is sitting at about 30. So I actually think that we're in a really good place to be. So, okay. 2. It is, in short, an industrialized marshland. I don't even know what that means. Industrialized marshland. I did Google that. There is a significant pothole problem. Yes, you guys, there's a pothole problem. One common to all the Midwest. Yes, it is common to the Midwest because we get all 4 seasons. I don't know what to tell you. The road crews can't keep up with the fact that it gets to freezing and it gets up to 96 degrees. Like, that is horrible on roads. And then do you do asphalt or concrete? Like, yes, potholes. There is almost constant construction on bridges, which seems unnecessary. I mean, is it unnecessary? Because you just said that there's a bunch of potholes and problems, and so you kind of have to have construction, because I will tell you, bridges are the ones that get affected the most because there's wind that is on the bottom and the top of them, and so, like, they don't have the ground helping them. Okay, I digress. Potholes. Next. Okay, next one. Okay, so another 1. Been living here for 2 years, moved here from Chicago because supposedly there's more job opportunities. There is. Okay, true. But it's low-paying jobs or customer service call center jobs. Okay, I'm not sure what you came here for. Awful potholes, damn potholes. Even the nice areas have potholes. People here are very rude, self-entitled, and unfriendly. I don't know who you're hanging out with, but you maybe need new friends. People here are very, very noisy. Like, they ask you personal questions and get in your business because there's nothing much to do here. I really want to know where you live. I'm going to call you a sir. Don't know why. Libraries here suck. Hey, don't go after the libraries. They don't have much books of various subjects. Book selections are pretty limited. Weather sucks here. It's mostly cold throughout the year. It's 96, dude. Go outside today. If you love the cold, this is the place for you. Weather also changes from cold to hot, rain, snow, sun, sleet, etc. in one day. It's true. It's the one thing of this one I agree with. Okay. People here are very close-minded and aren't exposed to much culture and life.
I feel like you aren't exposed and are close-minded.
Okay. They have very stupid drivers here who feel entitled to cut you off in traffic. We'll be moving to a tropical area soon. Won't be missing Indy at all. Okay, first of all, you came from Chicago. So stupid drivers, Chicago has the same drivers, if not worse, and I think traffic is worse in Chicago. You couldn't even at least say that and give us a plus. And you want to move to a tropical area. This kind of always makes me laugh because I've been to tropical areas, and although they're nice, I like to visit them. It is hot as balls all the time in tropical areas. Plus, you also have a lot of rain if it actually is a tropical area. I have clients that move to Florida that have, said, I want to move down south to where it's warmer. Move to Florida, and within years, a year, they call me back and say, we're moving back because it is so hot. Yes, you get a little bit of a cooler area or time in the winter time where it might get to like the 60s or whatever, but it's hot all the time and you don't get all 4 seasons. And so there are parts of this that, yes, okay, I agree a little bit with. Our libraries are amazing. I don't know what libraries you're going to, but if you think libraries are awesome in other areas, then I actually want you to tell me these amazing libraries, because now I want to go to them, because I actually think our libraries are pretty good. So people are very close-minded. I think maybe you're close-minded. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, so we go from a 1 to a 4. I like 4s. I'm originally from South Bend, Indiana, but I have lived in Indianapolis for the last 15 years now. I absolutely, I'm going to say love all the family-friendly things I have been able to do with my children. My least favorite things in Indy are the rising cost of housing. Okay, yes, I agree, but that's everywhere, so no matter where you are. The stagnant pay and the amount of slumlords we have in property management. Okay, our property management, if you know of a good property management company in the Indianapolis area, please send them my way, because I actually do agree with this. There are a lot of property managers that do nothing. I actually have a house that is under contract because the property manager did a job, said that they were doing stuff, didn't actually do stuff, and the house is, well, now it's as is and smells like cat pee, because they didn't do their job. I would very closely, I don't know what this means, in the community with Indy residents, and there needs to be more accountability for the inhabitable housing conditions some people are forced to live in. I actually can't speak a lot on that, because I don't know about the inhabitable housing conditions that people are forced to live in, because I think if you're living there, there's just a lot to this that I can't speak intelligently on, because I don't work in this space, so to speak. But overall, I agree-ish. Okay. A 5er. Indianapolis anchors the city's burgeoning. I need to look that word up. I'm not sure I know what that word means. Indianapolis anchors the city's burgeoning tourists and hospitality sector, home to nearly 8,000 hotel rooms and several of the city's major sports and event facilities. Downtown contains numerous historical districts and properties, most of the city's memorials and monuments, performing arts venues, and museums. Since its founding in 1820, I feel like they're like, this is the stats one, which I do love stats. This is details. This isn't a feeling, this is details. Since its founding in 1820, the seats of Indianapolis's local administration and Indiana state government have been located downtown. Downtown Indianapolis is also home to the highest density of commercial office space and employment in the state of Indiana. There's your data, which I do love data, but there's your data, and it's all correct. It was founded in 1820. There's a ton of hotel rooms. There's tons of activities. The historic district, properties, memorials and monuments, all great. Great job. Okay. Next, a 4. We went from a 5 to a 4. Indy has many different places to venture if you know where to look. Yes, if I haven't said this before, which I think I have said, if you just look, you can find almost anything for you. Like there's so many groups and clubs. Like if you're into biking or walking or crocheting or plant fanatics, like there is a group. Like you just have to look a little. To get around the city, though, it is best to have a car since a bus system doesn't take you everywhere you would want to go. So that's a downside. I agree. It is a downside. We don't have a really great transit system, but plenty of fun places to go when you need to find something to do on the weekends. I agree. There's so much to do. There's activities really in Indianapolis and the donut counties. You might have to drive. So to get from downtown Indianapolis to one of those donut counties, it's a 25-30 minute drive. So even if you're in downtown, like I'm going to use Hamilton County as an example again, because that's where we live. Hamilton County, all the cities, Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, Westfield are having events all the time, and they're open to anybody. So even though you live in Indianapolis, there's not like a gate that's like, oh, you're from Indianapolis, you're not allowed here. Like it's open to anybody. So yes, I agree you have to have a car, right? Because the transit system does not go down. There are actual cars or buses that actually will come to the donut cities. It's not a great system. I do agree that it should be better, but if you look, there's plenty of things to do. Okay, is this our last one? This is our last one. Okay, he wrote at the top, last one. See, such a good guy there. Okay, it's a 5. Thanks for ending on a positive note. The city that I call home, I do call it home. Well, Fishers is my home. I've been living here for a long time now. I always thought it was boring and it doesn't have many fun places to go, but I was wrong. The more I go out and explore outside, I realize that there are so many places to explore. Where I live in the city and the capital of Indiana, there are many community cultures, restaurants, and stores. If you are an outgoing person, it is a perfect place. You will meet many new people, and people here are nice. There are police cars around to make sure everyone is safe. It is a great place to raise a family. It has many close by colleges. It does. So like there's Butler, IUPUI, many. 25 to 30 minutes away from downtown. Okay, she wasn't even talking about Indianapolis, but those are in Indianapolis. You've got IU, Purdue, Ball State, so many. Indiana State from downtown. I want to see the gas prices change and a cheaper place to retire and raise a family. I know that young people like me want to move to a bigger city like New York and California. I hope that many young people can find Indianapolis a great place to start their new life. This is what I get most of the time. Most of my clients that live in Indiana, especially clients who have moved from another state and have moved to Indiana, this is what they experience. This is what they're saying. Now, they've lived here a long time, so it feels like they've probably been to other states. But I think we do have a vibrant community, restaurants and stores. There's colleges everywhere. Honestly, it's a really great place to live, and that's why I like to call it home. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. Okay, so those are the reviews of current and or past residents of the Indy area. What are your thoughts on what those reviews had to say? Do you agree? Do you disagree with them? Let me know in the comments below. If you're looking to make a move to the Indy metro area anytime in, say, the next 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, I would love to be your trusted resource and real estate agent. I also put a link in the description below if you want our customized relocation guide as well. I've helped hundreds of people just like you that are moving to, from, and around the Indy metro area, and I know this area forwards and backwards, top to bottom. If you like this video, please go ahead and click that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos about the Indy and surrounding areas. Oh, and here's that video about, or the link for the video about the Indy area that I think you might like as well. That's it for me today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.